Good afternoon. So I'm Keith Brinsenhoff, a Group Program Manager with Azure Active Directory, Identity and Access Management.
Hi everyone, and I'm Jasmine Perez, a Program Manager as well on the Azure Active Directory team.
Thanks, Jasmine. So Jasmine and I are here today to talk with you about Modernize your Identity Lifecycle Management with Azure Active Directory. And I'm actually going to extend the title a little bit to Modernize your Identity and Access Lifecycle Management with Azure Active Directory. If I had made that on this title, we would have got lost in the reading of it. But think of it as a full lifecycle across identity and access. And it'll be a combination. I'll kind of set the stage for a while, but we're going to, the majority of the time today will be spent in demonstrations. So looking forward to that as well. And please note, after the session, we'll have the mics here. We'll have the questions and answers afterwards. And both Jasmine and I will be down at the booth afterwards as well and be able to answer more questions as we go forward. So the whole world of business is transforming, right? They're transforming like based on the digital changes that have become popular and are growing rapidly, right? And this digital transformation is all about the connections, right? The connections with employees and their customers, with business partners, distributors, suppliers. It's really a tremendous growth in the connections that are possible, and basically quite a big difference from the traditional world of business where you would be basically within the boundaries of your network and managing your corporate domain. So it really is this extension, these connections, these interactions are driving, basically significant changes in productivity, agility, security, and those types of questions. And with that change, with those connections, with those new devices and things and everything, you really have to be rethinking and extending your current situation into the new world to take advantage of the capabilities to enable you to address these business agility opportunities, right? And the core of that is really extending your boundary, your control plane from the world of the network to this world of transformation where identity becomes the control plane, right? It doesn't replace that network boundary. It's an extension of it and ensures that you can now begin to take advantage of getting, based on the identity of the user, give them access to the applications that they need to do their business. You also can enable, based on the identity of the partner, give them access to your resources that are required so that you can get more business together and ensure that you're effectively solving your customer problems. And using this with the devices and that basically people love, right? So this is a big change. This is a change where the domain of the network boundary was now become quite a small component of this larger distribution, this larger kind of capabilities, this larger security challenge, right? So when you're in this world where now you say, okay, now I'm extending to the new world and I have identity as a control plane, this is where you really need to be adding in a whole new layer of governance. So before I go forward, how many here in the room went to the 3242 Govern Access with Azure Active Directory Identity Governance? Yeah, it's a mix throughout the room here. Great. So what governance is all about is, identity governance is all about, is when you have identity as the control plane, now you're saying, based on those identity, the who has access to what, right? Who should have access? Not only who does, but who should. What are they doing with the access? And are there effective organizational controls that you have in place that enable you to ensure that that is happening, and that whether you're in regulatory or other business requirements, are your auditors able to verify that the right people have the right access to the right resources, and that same is removed at the right time. So that's really identity governance. It's a layer, right? It's a layer above to be able to view the whole information ecosystem that you're working with and ensuring that you have the right controls in place. Importantly, you need to have a foundation on which to manage that governance, right? You really need to ensure that you can as you onboard people, as they join the organization, as there are moves made with the organization or they leave, the automation of that system, the identity provisioning, the identity deprovisioning, the identity lifecycle and access lifecycle is critical to be in place, because that is the flow of data and the flow of access that enables you to then govern it from above, if you will, right? So how quickly can a person get into your organization, be productive, get their work, begin to interact with themselves, with their teams, with their partners and others? How should that change based on their changes in their status or their role, right? How's that process automated, and how do I know if the process is working, right? So this is really the identity and access lifecycle that we're going to be talking about today. And this is foundational for the governance piece that is above that. So please, as you leave this show and others get to your desk on Monday, go ahead and look at the portal and start to view some of these other sessions, and you'll see how all the pieces start to fit together. So the focus here of my discussion and Jasmine's demonstrations is really we're going to focus a lot on employees and contingent staff, right? These are like the core of the business, if you will, and how they're onboarding to on-premises AD and cloud human resources, how you can drive productivity, agility with delegation, automation, and how you can enable those end users to be more productive by managing their own credentials and using self-service. There's a completely additional layer above this where you get your partners onboarding through invites and APIs. You manage their access to resources, and also how that's governed as well through access reviews, attestation, and that type of thing. There's actually, this show is still ahead. So for those of you who are here on Friday, you can go to 3249 and look at how the partner ecosystem gets enabled with these underlying systems that we're sharing with you right now. But the focus here is all about you're starting from no access, you've joined, you've moved, and you've left, and what that cycle looks like and how it works. So this kind of digital transformation, right, it's a stepwise function. It's a journey, right? You start from where you are, things change, you respond to those changes, you mature in those changes. And so this kind of journey is what we'll kind of focus on today and how it relates to identity lifecycle management. So in the beginning, you had the network on premises here, and you have Active Directory. You have things like HR systems that today manage the onboarding and the change control for the employees, and those might be automatically provisioned to Active Directory and giving access to on-premises apps and that type of thing. So this is what you have today, right? And many of you are managing this, have tremendous skills and experiences in this area. Then as the initial cloud applications became onboarding like Salesforce, Concur, ServiceNow, and others, what we found was that basically IT departments were pretty easy to onboard them. You would make a authentication connection with a federation, a server. You would ensure that, and you would make sure that they access from a single sign-on might occur from that federation's, server. But the provisioning, when I say provisioning, what I mean for the audience here is creation of an account within the cloud application, changes to that account over time, and the disabling or the deletion of that account at a later date. So that's provisioning and deprovisioning. And sometimes I think really the most important thing we offer is the deprovisioning part, because the fact when someone leaves the company, the rapidity that you can have to get that person out of the apps is a critical part of your business risk. But now, this basically was a working situation. A few apps based on the services you already managed, and then at the same time, basically managing manually or one-off per apps solutions for the provisioning and deprovisioning for the applications. Now, cloud adoption has become the new standard, right? So business success is depending on it, and businesses are moving way more faster than many of the IT departments are able to take advantage of or help control or help to manage. And so you have both those applications that are managed and those that are unmanaged. So some risk grows. Business productivity also is at risk. And IT complexity grows with each cloud application. But, an interesting thing here, you'll see the red lines are about authentication and the blue line is basically a provisioning line. And when one of the big apps that people bring in is O365 or Azure, it's a pretty common application. In fact, I should ask, how many people in the audience here have O365? It's pretty predominant, I would say, right? Okay. So what's really interesting about this, that already the seeds, if you will, of the future value is already in place because you're using Azure Active Directory. But at the same time, when you look at this environment, if you're only keeping that in one line, if you're only having that in that one place, you end up just being part of the overall complexity that has grown from this environment. So this is not an optimized situation right now. But now, because the majority of you have Azure Active Directory, right? You can now take advantage of that, and because you have it in O365 or Azure, and you can begin to say, like, hey, with Azure Active Directory, I can begin to onboard all those applications, manage them at scale, right? And ensure that through Azure Active Directory, I can not only provision Office, but I can provision Salesforce and others. Now, one important point here, it's called Azure Active Directory. It's more than Azure, and it's more than Active Directory, right? Now, first of all, it happens to be a wonderful service to manage Azure. It's the place to go to make sure you have the right controls in place for the right roles and the right kind of security associated with the Azure access. But it's really cross-cloud. It's for access to Google Apps, for AWS, for all. Think of this as a core infrastructure that enables you to have a consistent way of managing access across your organization. And the second thing is more than Active Directory. Many of you have been involved with Active Directory for years, right? And it really is, it's great for users and groups and group policy for managing that original device called Windows, right? It was great for that. But any additional components you needed to add, whether it was identity management, HR, security, reporting, and others, were additional capabilities you had to buy from a vendor, do a lot of integration and make them work, and manage them over time. Azure Active Directory is very solution-oriented, meaning out of the box, multiple clicks. That's sort of the thinking. So you make that one organizational architectural change, and then you take advantage of that over time by just being able to add more to it. And these simple click-through capabilities for the integrated apps are very powerful, and they're available for the most used apps. But what's not commonly known, over 600,000 enterprise applications, unique enterprise applications, on a monthly basis are authenticated through Azure Active Directory. So what this reflects for you is the fact that it's not just O365. It is a core infrastructure component to enable you to basically gain the power and the control across all of your applications in time. So let's take a moment and make this more real, move from talking to showing. But this is what I'll be doing here today is we're kind of building out from the what. If you say who has access to what, we're starting from the what, and then we're moving into the who and the how. All right. So let's go ahead and have demo with Jasmine around onboarding cloud applications.
All right, so today I'll be walking you through each demo that builds on each other about how to really set up identity lifecycle management with Azure Active Directory. So for the first demo, I'm an application admin and I want to set up the app Salesforce because as we know, sales is crucial to business and we really want to make sure our users have access to Salesforce from day one. So right now, I'm in the Azure Active Directory portal. And the first thing I'm going to do is navigate to Enterprise Applications under Manage. So from here, you'll see I already have quite a few of applications set up, but we want to go ahead and select a new application. So in this view, you have a couple options when it comes to onboarding a new app. We have tons of applications already pre-configured with Azure Active Directory that you can go through really that one-click setup that I'll be showing you today. You can also onboard any app you might be developing yourself or even an on-premises application. So Salesforce is a pretty popular app, so I'll go ahead and search for it in the gallery. Great. So now I can add this simply here. And because I have Salesforce already set up for this tenant, I'm going to go ahead and switch to that view and walk you through what I did to set this up. So the first thing we want to do here is set up single sign-on, because single sign-on is a huge benefit. We know this allows our users to use their Azure Active Directory account to have access, and they don't have to remember that other account to have access to Salesforce. So setting it up is actually pretty simple. I'm here on the single sign-on view that you can get to from the single sign-on tab here under Manage. And you'll notice that the view here is actually brand new. We just released this in public preview last week, and it's purely based on a lot of customer feedback we got. So we heard that we really want this setup to be a lot more wizard-like, as you can see here, and we've done that. So please do keep providing your feedback on this because we want to keep making it even better. All right, so let's get to the setup here. So really the main thing you have to do for single sign-on is set up this basic SAML configuration, which are just two URLs. So I have here the sign-on URL and the identifier, and you can get these from your Salesforce instance. Once you've done that, you have a couple options that you can also change, such as the user attributes. So this really gives you the full list of user claims here. And if in the case, for example, maybe you're using something else than user principal name for the name identifier, you can go ahead and change that here. You can also apply transformations depending on what kind of case sensitivity you might need for these claims here. Now, the next thing you'll see is the SAML signing certificate. And here you can download the certificate that Azure AD creates for you, or you can choose to also upload your own here. Another neat thing is that you can also set up a notification email address here. So if in the case that certificate is expiring or anything, you'll get an email about that. All right. And that's actually all there is from the Azure Active Directory side. Now that all that's left is that you can go ahead and make sure you configure Salesforce to use Azure Active Directory as the identity provider. And we have here all the URLs you need for that as quick links that you can copy. Now, we also have the walkthrough here that guides you through this step by step so that you know exactly where to paste those URLs. Now, one thing I want to note is that for some of our other applications, we also have an even easier setup when it comes to configuring the application. So let me just switch views here to ServiceNow. So here you can see all you have to do is provide your username and password, and we can go behind the scenes and toggle all those knobs in the application to have the configuration set up for you. And this is a feature that we really love and are trying to integrate into more and more of our applications. All right, so once you have that done, you can also test and just make sure your configuration is working well. You can either use the current user you have or a test user. And if in the case you get some kind of error, you can paste it right in this experience and you'll actually get step-by-step guidance on how to fix it. Cool. So that's single sign-on. And now the second key piece we really want to set up for this app is provisioning. And as mentioned earlier, provisioning is the piece that makes sure these accounts are automatically created in Salesforce. So I'm going to go ahead and move now to the provisioning section under Manage. All right, so setup of provisioning is even easier than single sign-on. All you need to do is provide your admin credentials here, as well as your secret token, and we can use the management APIs of the application to set up all the provisioning. So you can test that connection and just make sure that the credentials you have and that token is running correctly. And then again, you can also input a notification email That way you're warned at the first time that something might be off with these credentials you have. Another thing to note is that we also have the full list of mappings between Azure Active Directory and Salesforce here. So you'll see all the create, update, delete actions, and as well as the full list of mappings. And you have full control over here to edit these or modify them and add scoping filters to them. A lot of flexibility. Great. Now, once you've put in those credentials, you're pretty much ready to go. Provisioning will get started, and you'll also get a summary down here of how the last provisioning event went. So here you'll notice that everything looks successful. 64 objects were provisioned, and I didn't catch any errors. Now, all of this data is also ported into our audit logs, so you can see a much more aggregate level view of that there. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that later. So now the last part is we have single sign-on and provisioning. Now we want to add some users to Salesforce so that they can benefit from these features. So we can do that by now navigating to users and groups. And from here, I'll select add user. I'm going to go ahead and look for my group. All right, and this is just a group that I've statically assigned a couple of users to that I know needed access to it. And I can go ahead and pick a role for them, go with chatter for user, select, and hit assign. So now this application is added to, this group is added to Salesforce, and that'll kick off the provisioning event. So within minutes, those users will have accounts created in Salesforce, and then they can also sign into Salesforce with single sign-on. So we've kind of connected all those features together. So I've kind of talked through a lot of steps here, but I want to point out that we have something called a deployment plan. So I'm going to click that over here on the side. And this is a really great resource you can use. You can select what kind of functionality you want to deploy, such as what we saw today, single sign-on and provisioning. You can even add conditional access if you want to increase some app security on your app, and download this document. So I have one open here that I can kind of take you through for user provisioning. And you can see this document is really comprehensive. It starts from the business value, how to plan your design, how to implement it, all the way to really operationalizing it for your business. So do keep a lookout for these type of resources, as they are available for many of our features, and you can find them inline in the portal. All right, so I'm going to pass it back to Keith now to talk a little bit more about how you can build on top of this.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks a lot. So a couple points that we just heard. One is this attaching apps, onboarding apps to Azure AD. It's going to have tremendous benefits as we talk about how the provisioning to users and that kind of thing. But it basically is a core security partition, if you will, right? So at this point now, the more apps you have behind Azure AD, the more you can manage with conditional access and ensure that the right things are happening with access to those applications, right? So it's really, that's what one of the things that I mentioned about as you move to this model, as you get the new architecture, you can just build on this, right, and add additional things like conditional access. The deployment plans are interesting because what we found as we worked with hundreds and hundreds of customers on this work here is that there's technology and services, but there's people and there's processes, right? And we found that many of the blockages or the friction points were not in the technology, but were in the different groups discussing with each other and that type of thing. So these deployment plans have really been filled with Microsoft recommendations and actual experiences. But at the same time, what I'd recommend you take a look at these, you fill out in there your particular decisions you made and the particular choices and configurations you've done, people, owners, and that type of thing, and save it. This is a tremendous resource for you as an organization to know, like, hey, these were our decisions, this was our configuration, this was how we approached it. Literally, people change jobs all the time. You think you're going to remember something, you never do later. That's my problem for sure. So given all that, that's one core use of these deployment plans that I would ask. So we've had this great discussion about how now you're getting your apps behind Azure AD so they can be automatically accounts created and changed and disabled. Now we have to move to the next level, which is how do you, kind of moving back from the what, how do you make it more dynamic and more agile because of digital transformation that is going on. So first off, the first step is what we call birthright, right? Every organization has a small number of applications that they know everyone needs, either at the level of the company, level of the division, the level of the group, right? And things like maybe O365 or ServiceNow for IT or Concur for travel or Salesforce for sales, right? And those kind of things, you can kind of pre-build those things and know, like, I know what they are, right? And we call that birthright. So with Birthright, then, you can say, hey, using Azure Active Directory solutions, you can use the dynamic membership component, which enables you to, based on the profile of the user, automatically populate them into specific dynamic groups that then are attached in exactly the same way that you saw the static group attached to the application. So this dynamic membership is a great way to make sure that people have the capabilities and the apps they need to get started. And then the second piece of it, because business works and changes and grows constantly, you also have to have the ability to get it out of the IT's hands and into the users and the managers and the groups. And that's where we offer self-service application access and delegation, right? So this is where people can onboard applications based on that's a new application that their group uses or their team uses. You can have approval set on that, and you can ensure that people get that single sign-on and all the benefits that we get from that. Important part of that is access reviews, right? And so access reviews sometimes are known as like attestation, they're sometimes called, or reaccreditation. It's just different kind of names for the same thing. And what they do is basically enable business people who understand who should be in the group get a regular systematic way to agree and ensure that the right people continue to have access. So the combination of dynamic membership and self-service application access and access reviews gives you that identity lifecycle and access management that enables to address the kind of more agility required for your business. So let's actually go ahead and see how that adds on to the next layer to what we built here.
Awesome. So let's pick up where we left with our Salesforce application. And now we're the account manager admin, and we want to make sure that we're automating access to the application. As we know, Salesforce probably has a much more dynamic membership list, and we're going to have employees coming in and out of the company that are going to need access at different times. So the first thing we mentioned that is really useful around this is dynamic groups. So let's see how to create one of those. So I'm going to go navigate to groups under Manage on the left-hand side here. And this is kind of the list where I can find all the groups in my directory. And I'm going to hit New Group here. Now I'll set the type to Security because I want it to provide access into resources, and give this a name. And I can also give it a description optionally. And the key here is that we're going to set the membership type to dynamic user. Now this unlocks the ability to add a dynamic query to it. And these queries are very powerful. It's what allows us to define how the group should exactly be populated. So here you'll see I can use any of these Azure AD properties to define what my rule will be based on. So maybe I'll use department, for example. And I can add a condition as long as it equals sales. I'll be happy to add them to this group. So let's add that query and now create this group. Cool. Right, so let's take a look at how that group looks and what makes this unique. Okay. So you'll notice that the membership processing status is still evaluating because we just created it. But based on that rule we made, it'll reevaluate and update this group routinely. So if in the case a new member joined the sales department, this will update to it. And as well as if they leave, we'll have that same kind of update occur. And now the key here is that we can tie this to access to applications and licenses and other types of resources. So let's go ahead and tie this dynamic group to the Salesforce application we've been working on. Okay, so I'm pretty much going to add it just like I did earlier. Go ahead and add that, hit select, and also assign a role for our group. Right, and then assign it. So again, the provisioning event will kick off and start to add these new members to our Salesforce application. And this will continue to go on because we've used a dynamic group in this case. Now, dynamic groups really work well if you have great data, where you can kind of create a programmatic rule and tie that to some data point. But the problem is sometimes we don't have all that great data, and knowing who still needs access comes down to people in that team. So maybe the manager of that team, right? So that's where access reviews comes into play. I'm going to go ahead and flip over to the main page for creating an access review so we can take a look at that. So an access review is basically a report that you can send down to a user that you're delegating this resource to so that they can review who still has access to the application or group. So to get started with that, you'll see that they have a quick start guide here that takes you through what I'm showing you today. But let's go ahead and just see what it looks like to create a new one. I'm going to select Controls under Manage. And then from here, I'll go ahead and choose New Access Review. Now we'll be taken to a form on how we want to define our access review. And this will really give you some insight into what this kind of review looks like for a user. So let's start with giving it a name. And then we can give it a description if we wanted, and also keep the start date to be today. Now, you can select how frequently you want the access review to be triggered. So whether it's weekly or monthly or annually, you can set that here. I'll go with monthly. And then you can also select how long the access review will be available for your user. So I'm going to keep it at the default of about 2 weeks. And now you have options around when it'll end. So whether it's never or by a certain date or by number of occurrences, you can also customize that here. So I'll choose that it'll end by the end of the year. Okay, so we're almost done here. Now we just need to define who we're going to review and who's going to do the reviewing. So under users, we can select whether it's going to be members of a group or those assigned to an application. Since we're dealing with Salesforce, let's go with assigned to an application. Now we can choose the scope, whether it's just those guest users or we're going to broaden this to everyone. So let's do everyone for this. Lastly, we're going to pick the application. Okay, select that. And then the reviewers. So you can either select a couple of users or assign yourself for this. I'm going to select some users. And the reviewer I'm going to give this access review to is Rich because he's one of the people leading that team. All right. So once that's done, there's a couple other optional settings down here that you can set if you wanted. So for example, you might keep recommendations. And basically what this does is it uses some factors in Azure AD, such as the last time a user may have used the application, to provide a recommendation to the user filling out the access review. So then it's a little bit quicker for them to decide whether or not that user should still have access. You can also require approvals and make sure that there's mail notifications and reminders. All right, so I'm going to leave that at default and hit start now. So this access review that I just triggered will send our user Rich a notification email to fill that out. And that'll give us some data as to who has application access should still have access. And you can see that information as well in the overview page in the access reviews portal, where you'll see here when an access review is filled out, what the number of approvals and denies were. Cool. So as you can see, with dynamic groups plus access reviews, you're pretty much covering all your bases when it comes to automating access into the application Salesforce that we've been working on. So now I'm going to pass it back to Keith.
Thanks, Jasmine. So a couple notes. One thing on the dynamic, membership, we demoed a very simple rule. You could just switch the more complicated rules and create a simple, a syntax there. And many people say sales, this region, this building or whatever. So it can be quite complex, right? If you would like it to use this to help drive a lot of focus on terms of how the dynamic membership is used. So one thing I'd like to talk about right now is when we developed Azure Active Directory, and it's been years now, one of the core engineering strategies we had was to make sure that you could onboard functionality through Azure Active Directory without disrupting your on-premises world that you have today. Right? It was really critical that it not require a new identity access management project to be able to get this on board. Now, if a number of you have been in identity for a while, you know that IAM projects can take a long time. They can be expensive, and the organization doesn't necessarily know that you've done anything. Okay? So given that, right, our core strategy was, no, let's enable you to onboard to this functionality without requiring all of the redo, if you will, or all the risk associated with making big changes to your on-prem. So that's a core development strategy that we've had here. And based on that, this is literally being used by a lot of companies. And the reason I'm pausing here to talk about this now is that everything we've shown here up to now is general availability. It's been general availability for quite a while, and is used by companies around the world. So even if you just take these first steps and using your current HR system, maybe Oracle Business, SAP, others, right? You can still, as long as you're provisioning to AD through those systems, all this works, right? So you can work already with what you have, right? And I really would prompt people to kind of look at that and take that as an action item as we go through here. But given that situation, this transformation, one of the big deals that have been happening with the transformation is that a lot more people are considering or onboarding to cloud-based or SaaS-based human resources or human capital management. So I'll ask the room here, how many of you are considering things like Workday, SuccessFactors, UltiPro? It's actually about 30%. Oh, no, more, it's getting closer to 40%. Okay, so it's a pretty broad amount. And whether you've done it or considering it, it's a critical piece because it's basically doing rapid onboarding and that kind of activity. It's just an important part of being able to transform at the speed of business, right? And so Workday is a leading cloud provider, and so we started with them. This discussion here today will be about Workday, but think of it as one step along the journey, and we'll be adding other applications like SuccessFactors and UltiPro and others as we go forward. Your feedback on what's important to you in terms of that order is help to us as well. So what you're going to see today is our support of Workday as a HR-driven identity access management lifecycle driver, right? And we're in public preview now. We're targeting general availability for the end of the calendar year. We have a large number of customers who are literally using it today while it's in public, and this is basically the way we validate and ensure that it's ready for general availability. But let's actually go ahead and kind of complete this part of the journey by tying the identity piece of it into the flow of access that we've just been seeing with Jasmine.
Great. So we're going to switch gears a little bit for this segment. And now I'm our HR admin, and I'm in the Workday portal. So my job here today is to make sure our new hires are set up correctly in the system. And I have here Tammy Silver, one of our pre-hires. And you'll notice that in Workday, there's a lot of key information here filed about her. So things like her position, her employee type, location, and so much more. So this is the type of information that from an HR perspective, we want to make sure is sourced from here and then into all our other applications in Azure Active Directory. We really want to treat what we have in Workday as our source of truth in a sense. So if we click in further into this employee, Tammy, we'll see that her profile actually contains even more data. So we see here her manager as well as in the contact area, information about her address and phone number. And these are all the key pieces we want to ensure are, plumbed in correctly. So let's kind of go ahead and see how this provisioning takes place step by step. So within Workday, let's see if that provisioning event took place correctly too. So I'm going to go switch views here to see how the provisioning of our hire went. And this looks like it was also successful and completed. So these are all kind of showing us good signals so far that everything is properly moving. And now we can connect this to Azure Active Directory through what we set up in provisioning earlier. It's going to be very similar. So let's switch over now to Azure Active Directory to kind of continue this paper trail. So first thing I want to do here is make sure that our new user is actually in the system. So I'm going to go to Users under Manage. Then I'm going to go search for her. Okay. Let's make sure this profile has all that information we were taking a look at. And it looks like we see everything, her job title, department, manager, and as well as all of that contact info. So I do want you to keep in mind that her phone number is also here, and this was vetted by HR. And this is actually going to become very useful later when Tammy starts her first day at work. Now, some other things to note are her groups are also all populated, and this is because of those groups being dynamic groups. So we can almost assume that from day one, she's already going to be part of the right groups and have the right access to all these different types of resources. And that goes for applications, as I mentioned, and as well as licenses. So here we see she even has an Office 365 license, so she should be able to be productive as well from her first day. Great. So now let's kind of step up a little from here and look at how the Workday application is actually set up. So I'm going to go back to the main page of Azure Active Directory and now navigate to Enterprise Applications. And from here, I'm going to pull up the Workday application. Okay. And I'm going to go to the provisioning section. So the way provisioning was set up here is actually very similar to how we set up Salesforce a little bit earlier. There are a couple other fields that you might have to fill out, such as your Active Directory coordinates, and this is because the data is actually also being provisioned into Active Directory as well as Azure Active Directory. And another thing to take a look at is how our mappings look for provisioning. And you'll see here, we made sure that all those fields that HR really found important and we needed for other applications are also being provisioned into Azure Active Directory. So things like that mobile number, her manager, and everything else we mentioned earlier. And again, you can also place some transformations to this if necessary, if you need to format these fields in a certain way. Cool. And if we scroll down a little more, we can see that the last summary was successful and that we had 333 objects provisioned into Azure Active Directory. So that gives us a really good signal that everything went well with our Workday provisioning and that there were no errors. So that kind of like summarizes very cleanly how you can set up Workday and have this flow data into all the right places. So from Azure Active Directory and then into all those different resources. All right, back to you, Keith.
Thanks, Jasmine. Good use. So we've been in the sort of the IT mode for a while, right? And we've kind of seen how it works end to end. And we looked at right from the source of truth of HR through to the access to the applications. So I think really the reason all this was done was not for that, but for these end users, your employees, your contingent staff to be able to get to work rapidly and be very effective right from the first day. And some of the key components of that are you want to enable users to manage their own credentials. That's a core security principle. You want to have less people involved, actually no additional people involved in any security credential transfer, if at all possible, because that's a weak point, a weak link in the system. So you want to make sure users can manage their own credentials. In this case here, it will be about managing the credential of their password, but this system is basically putting yourself on the path for as you onboard passwordless over time, and that's probably one of the most exciting things we've been talking about here at Ignite. This system will enable this same capability to be rolled into that as well. So really ensuring that you have this piece in place enables you to then go forward as innovation occurs. The second thing is that you're enabling access for the employee. They go to one place and they can just get started, right? They can go out from there, and that they also can work. They can actually make a difference for the company on their first day. So let's switch gear and have Jasmine become that employee and show us what that first day of work looks like.
Okay, so time for my favorite part. And now we're going to see how all of what we set up actually comes together for our new employee here. So I'm Tammy Silver, and I've received 3 pieces of information before my first day of work. I've gotten my new company email address, where I can go to set up my password, and as well as a link to the company portal. So here I am right now at the page where I can get my password. So I'll go ahead and type in the email address I received, and as well as this CAPTCHA to prove that I am not a robot. All right. Hopefully I got that correct. And it's thinking. All right, so I have some options here, and because I don't have my password yet, I'm going to say I need to retrieve it. And I'll select next. Now check this out. I can use my phone number to go ahead and set up my password. So I have that all stored thanks to HR and our Workday provisioning in the system. So I'm going to go type that in here. And I should get a text message now that allows me to verify my identity. All right. Okay. And the key here is that I didn't have to deal with any temporary passwords that might have been written down on a piece of paper or sent to me via email. I can do this independently because I know my mobile number and I also have my email address. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a new password. Right? And that's something I can remember, which is great. I'm just wrapping up here. Now I can go ahead and check out the company portal since I can use these account credentials to access it. So I have this open here. I'm just going to refresh this. And I'll type in my email address. and the brand new password I just set up. Uh-oh, let me just do a quick refresh here. Of course, I have to deal with the demo gods at some point today. Okay, there you go. So I'm actually at the My Apps portal, which is a part of the Azure Active Directory experience. And this allows you to set up a one-stop place for users to do all their app launching from. And you can also customize the branding on here. So as you can see, Tammy just signed in on the first day of work, but she has all her applications already ready for her, and as well even the Office apps. So another neat thing in this portal is that I can add a new app here. So I'm going to check that out. And what I'll land on is a curated list that my IT department has set up for me in the case that these are some optional apps. You know, we don't necessarily know when the user might need them, but they're here. And on top of that, we can also assign an owner for the application who can approve a request to it. So, for example, I might go ahead and add the sales dashboard application. Great. So now this will send a request to the owner, and once that's approved, it'll show up on my app launcher. And this kind of shows another facet of self-service and how you can start to delegate down all this access management. So now let's go back to the main app launcher page and explore what else I have access to. So you might have noticed that the Salesforce application that we set up is here. So we can also test out to verify if my single sign-on is working well. And it looks like I have access to Salesforce. So this means I can get started from day one. Thank you. Awesome. Great. So what else would be important, right? I think access to mail is another big one. So let's check out Outlook and make sure I have access to email. Okay, there you go. So I have not just my mailbox set up, but I'm also part of a ton of groups already. And that's thanks to all the dynamic groups we set up. So I see I'm part of New Employees 2018, and there's already some resources here. And I can already connect with members in my team. So these are all just awesome things to come to on your first day. And I know for certain, you always want to check out the company SharePoint, since that's another great place to grab a ton of beneficial resources. So access to there is working well too. And you know, today is actually new employee orientation, so it's good I came here. Right. So as you can see, everything's kind of coming together for this user's first day at work, right? And one other thing I want to note, because we do have a great partnership when it comes to how our experiences work with the Office portal, we also do have an integration here when it comes to accessing your applications. So as you'll see in this waffle control, there's actually all your Office apps, but as well as all the cloud apps that we set up. So whether you're in the My Apps portal or working on Mail or in SharePoint, you can still launch Salesforce from either experience. So kind of just stepping back from this, I think this is an awesome first day experience. I really didn't run into any frustrations, whether it was setting up my password or trying to figure out where resources were. I was able to explore freely, and I can collaborate with my team from day one. So now I'm going to pass it back to Keith.
Jasmine, thanks a lot. This is great. So, you know, this is lifecycle, right? Meaning that the user's on board, as moves occur, they get new dynamic groups that are assigned to them. Through the process, they get a new set of apps change. So all that's going on throughout the lifetime of that employee or contingent staff within your organization. And through all of that, one of the kind of the interesting kind of components of that is how do you as an organization, watch what's going on and really ensure that the right things are happening. So one of the core design principles of Azure Active Directory, I said that Azure Active Directory is not Active Directory, right? One of the core design principles that in Active Directory it's quite decoupled, right? Like if you wanted to know what group this individual was in and what apps they had access to based on that group, you would have to go find all the applications that had used that group for authorization and then work backwards to find out when they had done it and that type of thing. From an Azure Active Directory perspective, group membership, assignment to a group, what applications the group has access to, all this is clearly available in the data, right? The design principle is massively coupled because we can do that in the cloud because it's so huge and the ability to manage the data is just so much more effective in the new technologies and the new architectures here. So you have all this data, right? So how do you actually make use of it? How do you begin to ensure that all the right things are happening in your organization, right? So right out of the box in Azure Portal, we allow you to monitor user activity, provisioning activity, all the pieces that we have shown, you can gain access to that. And that has about 30 days or so of storage, et cetera. But what we've seen is that our customers need to unlock that data even more. So through our Azure Monitor integration, we've actually made it very simple to onboard to Azure Log Analytics, right? For example, the big customer asks for that, as well as other potentially favorite analytics tools you might have, like Splunk or Sumo Logic. So let's just take a moment to step back and look at with Jasmine what it looks like to unlock that data, unlock the value, and begin to really look end-to-end on what's going on in your organization now that you have a systematic way that you're managing from the source through the access across your total organization. So, Jasmine.
Okay, so really coming full circle now here. And I'm our IT admin now, kind of in charge of the overall how our identity lifecycle management system is going. And data is, of course, key. So we have a lot of different options here. And the first ones I want to start with is what is natively built into the Azure Active Directory portal. So we have two types of activity reports, sign-in reports, and audit logs. And I'm going to start out with going over what you can find in the sign-in reports. So I'll navigate to that over here under activity. And what you'll find here is every time a user has signed into anything, whether it's an application or a different type of resource, you'll have all that great data here. Now, this is great if you're trying to troubleshoot a case. So let's say a sign-in failure. So maybe support has identified that a user is having trouble signing in. And you can start here by scoping your search down. So in this case, I'm going to add in our user's name and as well as set it to failures and see what we'll get there. Okay, so it does look like this user is having trouble. And if we drill in more, we'll see a failure reason and as well as the sign-in error code. So here it says that the external security challenge wasn't satisfied. So maybe, for example, you might have just been rolling out multi-factor authorization, and you might be curious if this might be related to your rollout campaign. Maybe there's something you could have improved there, which is why you're seeing these failures from your reason. Now, if this type of data isn't quite enough, you can also go to our troubleshooting and support for more help. This tab allows you to take this details that are found in the sign-in log entry and send it right into a support ticket request. And then from there, you'll get the help you need to resolve your issue. Now, the second type of reports we have are audit logs. And I can get to that as well from activity on this left side here. And this is pretty cool. You'll actually see every single event that happened in your Azure Active Directory tenant. So if you look at the categories here, it's quite exhaustive. It goes from application single sign-on to core directory access reviews like we saw earlier. And right now, I want to check out account provisioning a bit more since we've been focusing on that today. And let's say you're trying to troubleshoot some kind of failure related to this, which shouldn't happen, right? Because we've set up provisioning perfectly earlier. But we can still check out what might have caused that. So I'm going to scope it down to that Salesforce app and just the export activities in the last 24 hours. Okay, thing looks good so far, except right down here I see a failure. So if you click into this, you'll get kind of similar to what we saw earlier, a detailed reason for what might have caused that failure. So in this case, it's actually because I didn't have enough licenses for the user I provisioned to a certain role. So it's not necessarily the way we set up provisioning, but I just didn't have enough licenses. So options that I could circumvent this is either buying more licenses or just changing the role I set that user. So again, you really get a ton of data related to each event that's logged here. But you're probably noticing that this type of data is great for one-off troubleshooting cases and trying to understand what might have happened, but it doesn't necessarily help you when it's time to kind of aggregate and analyze this data. So as mentioned, one neat integration we have is with log analytics. So I'm going to go ahead and move to that Azure service over here and show you a little bit more about what you'll find in log analytics. So here I have a event hub that actually captures every event happening in Azure Active Directory. And if I click into that, I can go to the workspace summary, which you can also get to directly. And you'll see a dashboard view of all these different type of events. So here I have account provisioning, sign-in events, users performing consent, and I can continue to add tiles that I really want to see at a high level. Maybe this is a place I start my day at just to make sure everything's running smoothly. So I'm going to drill into the account provisioning events. All right. This is loading. And now you'll start to see a really detailed view of that tile. It breaks it down into each operation and the exact applications that might have caused it. You also see kind of over time how that trend looks. And if I continue to drill down, you'll see I have even more customizability here. I'll see the underlying query. So I can adjust this in real time if I want to manipulate that data, look at it from a different angle, and I can also export that data from here easily. Now, another neat feature in log analytics is creating new alert rules, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. And right now we're at a failure, right? So this is one example of something you might want to create a rule for, because if a certain number of failures occur, you might want to get a notification for that so you can be proactive about it. And in this rule page, you can basically assign what your alert criteria is based on and then define what the alert that will be generated off of that will be. So it's severity, what's the description of it, and as well as who receives that notification and what action they should take on it. So this is a really great way to put up some proactive measures to make sure everything keeps running smoothly over time and that you're always the first to know when something might be off. Now, aside from these two different areas where you can get reporting value out of, you probably might already be using some other analytics tools. So you can also export all of that data we showed you into any tool that you prefer. So we see Splunk, Sumo Logic, and ArcHub as really popular examples. And that way, this type of reporting just kind of plugs into maybe existing workflows you already have. So really lots of flexibility, lots of options when it comes to how you want to kind of see this over time and maintain it. All right, so I'm going to close out our demo series here for today, actually. And you've really seen us go through the whole journey. We started from that one application, setting up some core functionality on it, And then we automated access to it. And then we saw what that meant if we're taking it from a HR-driven application. And then, of course, we put that together to view the user's experience. And now you can see where you can go and kind of be confident about everything you set up over time. So I'm going to pass it back to Keith to give you some more tips on how to get started.
Thanks, Jasmine. That has been a wonderful series, and the demo gods blessed you. So that was great. The log analytics capability that we just showed is, you won't find it today. It's going to be out like next week or something like that, or the week after. So watch for the identity blog, Alex Simon's blog, and we'll alert you when that's available. It's been a big ask for item. Please try it out and let us know what you think. But it's going to be in the next weeks, as we said. But we didn't want to wait to tell you about it, so take the chance. So we showed a lot of things today, and it was basically a pretty, band across a lot of functionality. But there's a couple areas I want to call out. The first thing on your next step is moving your apps to depend on Azure Active Directory is a critical step for this successful end-to-end lifecycle, right? So that's a critical piece. So we've created a lot of tools, documents, capabilities to make that easier for you. And you can find them at the short URL, aka.ms/wack migrate apps. But please note, don't get scared by the word migrate apps. You're just pointing the authentication to a different head, right? You're not moving the app, right? So it's just, our thinking was just about how you're moving this move, but it's not a migration, it's not a data migration, it's an authentication and provisioning change. So that's an important step. It's quite lightweight, but we've given you a ton of tools to be able to make that easier. The second one is in our aka.ms/wack deployment plans. You'll see a number of these in-depth end-to-end people, process, technologies, operations guides across all this functionality. And we just published a new Workday one. It should be either in there today or late tonight. I was looking at the queue for its publishing, so it'll happen shortly. But that's there. That's important too, because you need to talk to your HR people. This gives you a framework for having that discussion and recording that discussion and knowing what's next for you. Important tool to have. And then finally, both Jasmine and I will be here, and then we'll be down at the booth, and a number of other folks as well. So there's several more hours of booth time. We'd be happy to answer questions and kind of get into a good discussion, both ourselves and any other person at the booth itself. This is one session related to a number of sessions based on this core architectural change of extending your world to identity as the control plane and all the value add that you get from that. So please, when you get back home, if you haven't seen these here, or even if you did and you want to refresh, here's a list of sessions that you might want to look at and take a good, kind of get the big picture, if you will, across all of the value here. And then finally, Jasmine and I hoped we have put together the right kind of information for you, but we always want to get better. So please evaluate the session and give us comments about what we did well, and for our learning, what we could do better. Thank you very much.